made it through the day, or you're currently making it through the day. Either way, it's an accomplishment. You're up against a lot out there. It's really exhausting just being alive right now. I think that that's something that we forget, or that many people don't know in the first place, is that sense of deep exhaustion. It's not for nothing. Our society is not structured around supporting us and helping us thrive in our lives. Like, you know, our ancestors' societies were, like Indigenous societies are. Our society, if you're listening to me talk in English, probably somewhere in the imperial core, is structured around extracting capital, extracting money from us workers and making us work more so that the excess value of our time and our labor, our energy, our life force is just sucked out of us and put into the pockets and bank accounts of the capitalists who run the show. It's not great. And you can feel that in your body. Just surviving can be really, really tiring. Getting out of bed, good Lord. I've done a lot of different jobs. I've done childcare, I've been a canoe tripping guide, I've chopped wood, I've worked on farms. Ooh, squirrel. And I swear, there's no job harder. Well, okay, childcare is the hardest one. Parenting under these conditions, that's the hardest one by far. Harder than farming, harder than any of it. And I've done all those jobs. But the actual hardest thing is getting the fuck out of bed when you have a computer job or a wage labor job somewhere shitty like, you know, fast food or whatever, where you know that the effort and labor you're putting out into the world, even if you're not keeping that in mind, your body knows that you're not like doing something that feels good and fulfilling and rewarding, that's giving back to your community. I mean, sure, maybe you're feeding people or whatever, but you're not doing it in a way that is collaborative and cooperative. You're doing it in a way that most of the money that you're making, the money that people are giving you from their hard-earned money that you're putting in the cash register, is going to some rich asshole's pockets. And it's not even making them happy. That's the craziest thing about it. The rich people aren't happy either. They're just extracting and taking and hoarding and trying to keep themselves feeling safe in a world that they contributed to making it less safe. And they're not even actually that happy. They're just chasing the same thing that somebody who is addicted to a drug is chasing. That high of the numbers going up in the bank account, owning more. And they're also, which is something that I should talk about more in my work, because, by the way, I'm Dr. Hilary Agro. I'm an anthropologist and community organizer, and my specialty is in plant medicines and the human relationship to consciousness alteration, and also collective liberation. So, you know, the big structures and systems that it got us into this mess, and also how to get out of it. Anyways, walk with me as I walk directly into the sunset, apparently, because I had a hard time getting out of bed today too, but I'm out of bed and the sun's setting. The solstice was a couple days ago, so, you know, it's pretty late here and getting the sun directly in my face. But walk with me and talk about how you don't deserve to feel the way that you do, and there are reasons for it. And I think it's important to talk about those reasons, because on those days when we struggle to get out of bed or we're feeling really not productive or whatever, your body is still just struggling so hard to heal and rest from incidents that jangled your nervous system when you were a kid, last week when someone yelled at you on the subway, when you're in traffic, when you have a deadline, when you're trying to take care of your kids and then realize that you're letting food burn on the stove and you feel so unsupported, or just feeling lonely and not cared for because the people around you don't really understand you. You have a hard time feeling safe being vulnerable with them. All of these tiny little things, they get in your nervous system and they're exhausting. So no wonder you feel so tired. It's so understandable. Way, way back in the day, years and years ago, but also for most of human history. So, you know, 200,000 years ago or more, up until, depending on where you're from, a few hundred years ago, a couple thousand years ago, your ancestors lived in peace and quiet for the most part. There would be nothing remotely, nothing that comes close to the level of stress that we feel on a daily basis here in this society. They might have experienced that once or twice in their lives because there was stasis and stability, just like there is for most species that exist on the planet. Because Homo sapiens, we are primates. We are a species of mammals, primates. If you look at most primates in the wild, they're not that stressed out. They're not like us, just running and trying to make ends meet and constantly being at threat. This idea of the wild being a hostile place where everyone's at threat all the time is kind of a colonial myth that justifies controlling and dominating it, but that's a side rant for another day. It's not to say that your ancestors didn't experience stress, obviously, but I've never heard the sheer level of suffering, the fighting and the guns everywhere, and just the rampant environmental destruction that we are seeing today that has impacts on our souls and our bodies, our minds, because, you know, spent a few centuries trying to dominate nature and she's pissed at us, and some of us are waking up and realizing that, oh right, we're a part of nature, we shouldn't be doing that. That level of just fuckery would have been unheard of to your ancestors. It makes sense that you need rest. Even on a day where you feel like you did nothing, your body is actively trying to heal. It's trying to rest. It's trying to just not be barraged by more news, more stress, more tension and expectations from the world around you. People wanting things from you and trying to take from you in their desperate attempts to feel safe themselves, and yet not having regard for you. Our individualist system that isn't built for care. Yeah, your body's trying to recover from that. Can I talk more about how rich people are not happy in this system either? I should make a whole video about that. It's really, I'm a drug expert, right? I have been studying humans and drug use for many years now. I have a PhD. Follow me, by the way, if you want to hear more about these topics. Subscribe and hit the bell and whatnot. In my experience with people who use substances to cope, it's honestly pretty similar to what I see as an anthropologist in people who use addiction to money and power to cope. It's still trying to feed that same emptiness where community and nature should be. They're not happy. Does Elon Musk seem happy? Like a really well-adjusted and sane and stable individual? Is he having a great time? Or is he desperately trying to hold on to the house of cards that he built because he knew nothing else? All of this behavior that we see in that type of person, in Trump and all that, where they just deny reality, deny any accountability, get immediately defensive, are unable to hear anything critical or anything challenging to their worldviews. They're fragile. They're so fragile. It's so hard. I bet you know some people in your life that are similarly fragile. Can't actually hear reality because the sun's really in my face now. They can't hear you talk about reality or challenge their worldview because they're trapped. They're trapped in a system that they didn't create, but that told them, follow these rules, say and do these things, and you will be okay. And that does work for a lot of people, but it doesn't work for our species as a whole. It's really messing things up. And it doesn't work for you, or you wouldn't be watching this right now, looking for something more, hungering for something more. You are doing your absolute best in a system that was not designed to meet your needs, was not designed to care for you. It was designed to commodify you, to turn you into a docile little worker, to force you to adhere to gender norms and body norms and norms revolving around whiteness so that you would become a cog in the machine that's eating us all alive. Bad machine. I don't like it. I don't think you do either. I don't think most people do. I think, as somebody who's been an activist for the last 15 plus years, something has definitely shifted post-pandemic. People on all sides, whether or not they've landed on an accurate worldview, an accurate explanation for their dissatisfaction and their alienation and their pain, people are definitely figuring it out. They're realizing more and more that even if they don't really know what's wrong with the system, and many people do, it's capitalism, it's colonialism, but even the people who haven't landed on that yet, they still know that something's wrong. Everything is off. Everyone's looking for answers in a way that previously really wasn't the case. It is one thing among many that gives me hope, is that I've been doing this same work for ages, and all of a sudden, it's easier than ever. People are more willing to listen. People are actually figuring it out. Keep your head up whenever you can. Sometimes you don't have the strength to lift up your head. Put it on a nice soft pillow. You deserve that too. Keep your spiritual and emotional head up as much as you can, because we're all in this together and we're all doing the work as much as we can. And if some days just surviving is all you can do, that's all right. That's all right, baby. There's others out there who are taking up the fight while you need to rest. And then later, once you're done resting, you can take up the fight so those people can rest.